Hello and good afternoon. This is Ronald Bird with another edition of Style Speaks. I'm here downtown DC at Union Station with the distinguished gentleman, model development specialist and entrepreneur, CEO of Row Agency. I think that's an acronym for something, but I'm going to let him tell you. Mr. Harley Morgan. Hello, Harley.
Hello. Good afternoon, Style Speaks.
All right. We're glad to have you. Glad you decided to talk to us today.
Really. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Mr. Morgan, where are you from?
I am a native Washingtonian. Been here all my whole entire life.
Isn't that something?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Northwest Washington, D.C.
Okay, uptown boy like me. Okay, I never saw you. Okay, I'm a little older than you, but you know. Well, so you were here all your life, you said, so you grew up in D.C., you never lived any place other than D.C.?
Nope, my whole life. I've lived like all over the city actually, but okay. I've only been in Washington, D.C. Went to school, college, everything here.
Okay, well, being a native Washingtonian, I can definitely relate to a lot of what we see in the district, and a lot of what I'm talking about today is style and fashion in the District of Columbia. But I wanted to first talk about maybe being in the line of work that you do, being a model, entrepreneur, and someone who is kind of spreading his wings throughout the city and putting your influence. Where do you get some of your inspirations, and how did you kind of get started in this whole fashion mecca?
Well, many years ago, not that many, but no, I started getting into fashion and fashion show production when I was in high school. Back in like 1999 and 2000, that was like the thing to do. Okay. So I just kind of got caught in the trend, but as I continued to do it and started doing it through college, it became something that was like second nature. So that's pretty much how I got involved. As I got into college, you know, a lot of the HBCUs, you know, they do big fashion show productions, and everybody wants to be a model, and I kind of became the person that he's the one with the models. You know, I kind of became that person. So
the representative, if you will. You kind of
representative, the agent, the producer.
Right.
That kind of was bestowed upon me. So I just kind of took that, and you know, I learned early that, you know, you take a hobby, something that you like, and if there's a need for it, you can make a business. So that's kind of how we got to where we are.
Well, did you do modeling yourself? You started out modeling yourself, though, right? Before you got that introduced you to the genre.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you're pretty tall.
I modeled. Like I said, I started in high school and I did it in college. And I even did it outside of college. I'll still do it every now and then, but my focus now is more so behind the scenes, doing more development, more production. You know, more of the developmental work.
Right, the nuts and bolts and stuff. Get your hands dirty a little bit. It's not about looking as good as you look today. We're gonna work on that coat. Well, what were some of your influences? Well, let me go back a little bit. Based on wanting to model, I know you're a tall guy. You obviously had some influences. You always, you know, had a knack for looking nice and dressing nice. What were some of your influences, and at what point did you decide that you even wanted to pursue that, even though it was what people were doing? But what made you think that you had the chutzpah to kind of pursue that and be successful at it?
To be a model?
Yeah, actually to kind of, even before being a model, you had to get to some place where you felt that you can do it, or you were positive enough, you had a self-image, you know, positive enough to actually get out there and do the work.
Well, I think, I think all men come to the point where they are really, really infatuated with how they look. They want to impress women. They want to impress people, period. So being in that stage, you know, and hearing people say, oh, you should do this, you should do that, coupled with me really enjoying lights, camera, action.
Okay.
I think that all of that together just kind of got me to want to be a model.
So you kind of wanted the limelight and all that. You kind of wanted to stand out. So
I mean, you know, everybody does at some point.
No,
that's actually not my personality. I'm a very laid back, conservative individual, but I do enjoy, you know, showtime also.
Okay. So I guess the answer would be just influences that other people kind of thought that this was something that you wanted to do, or, you know, you had some maybe people in your family or people in the public eye that you wanted to model yourself after. It's like, I want to pursue modeling, I wanted to pursue fashion. I guess to talk about, you know, what kind of gave you that
well, I I wasn't necessarily inspired by a model to become a model.
Okay.
I think it was more so being motivated by others to do it. Just that motivation, saying that you can do it. You should just do it. And then me actually using that as fuel to do it. So I think that's how I actually began to model.
Okay. So obviously you did a number of shows and you were successful at it, and it kind of you became the go-to person to kind of influence other people. So you had an effect on other people kind of wanting to pursue it. And did you ever want to go out of the country and pursue it on a wider scale?
At one point, I did see myself being like a supermodel, male supermodel, traveling and doing the whole 9 yards. One of my very first experiences, like auditioning for a modeling agency, kind of took me in a different direction. When I went there, I'm thinking that it's really about just how you physically look and how you walk. But I was kind of brought to reality with that experience, and so I had long hair. They was pretty much telling me I needed to cut my hair, I needed to do this, I needed to do that, and I wasn't a fan of that. So, that's when I kind of rerouted, and I was like, there's definitely another way to get into the industry other than not being who you want to be.
Right, having to mold and be somebody that you're not.
So that's kind of what forced me to do more model development, just to kind of help people learn how to brand what they want themselves to be.
So I guess that was a nice segue into your own business and company. So what does ROE stand for?
ROE stands for Righteous Ones Entertainment.
Okay.
There's a very brief story behind that. The very first fashion show that I coordinated was for Archbishop Carroll High School. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I am. I'm a native.
That is okay, cool. So that's a Catholic school. We did a fundraiser for the choir, and we named it, just kind of paralleling with what was going on. But the show was such an overwhelming success. My partner at the time, he said, we need to adopt this name. Maybe it'll bring us luck. So we kept it, but just a little bit further. We have male and female models. We label our female models angels and our male models aviators. So connecting that with being righteous is just kind of like being above others, doing things. The way that we do things is obviously the correct way to do it in the industry. So that's kind of how we parallel all of that.
Wonderful. And your website is fabulous, by the way. I love the graphics on there. I like that whole aviation kind of pin. You're going to check it out. He's going to talk about that in a minute. Well, getting back to the whole style and fashion piece, how do you, I guess obviously you would consider yourself a stylish guy. You know how to dress. You have a sense of fashion. We all have our own individual senses of style and fashion. But how do you, when you're about, I guess maybe when you're kind of influencing other people and you're walking about in the streets of DC, how do you pair DC as being, or do you think that we're even on the map, or how do you pair DC as being like one of the more fashionable cities? How do you classify DC?
Well, DC is not a fashion capital. As much as
he says that emphatically, it's not. Even if you think it is, it's not.
As much as we would like for it to be, myself included, I don't think it is. We come up with a lot of.
A lot of people tend to think differently, but you're absolutely no. But I'm just kidding.
But no, we have a lot of trends that come from DC.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of stylish, creative people in DC. But in order for that to catch, it's a support thing. I think trends spread because people support it. And if your trend is, you have a great trend, I should be able to support your trend and help you spread it, so that others will notice us.
Okay.
But I think that's just a problem that we have in our city. People don't help support and spread each other's trends and creativity.
Well, that's an interesting way. I've never heard anybody quite put it that way. I wish I said that out of my mouth.
You can use it if you like.
I can use that. Well, that's an no, seriously, that's an interesting perspective. But I guess as a whole, you don't rate DC as one of the highest fashion meccas in the country, and I definitely believe that. But what can you do, or how can you influence that? You just made a valid point about supporting one another's trends. But I think a lot of people are really into their own individual styles, And when you're supporting somebody else's look, it's kind of like, you know, demeaning your own or not acknowledging your own style, but everybody has to have something that they have to kind of go by. So, I mean, how can you explain to the people how you can support other people in their trends and still be individual and still kind of bring that level, that sense of fashion to the city to make it, you know, to make people kind of compete and support one another? What can you do to contribute to that?
Well,
that's a tough question.
What I can do in my profession and with my business. So for example, I work with a lot of models, I work with a lot of stylists, designers, etc., etc. It's my job to connect the individual model that's branding themselves with designers and stylists that are trying to market their style and creativity.
Okay.
And so when I put the two together, you know, that gives the model an opportunity to support. You know, they may enjoy it, they may not, but they also get an opportunity to put their own spin on it.
Okay.
And we as an agency, you know, we promote the model with the portfolio pictures. So in turn, we're promoting the stylist and the designer. In turn, we're promoting a trend, because to do a shoot with us, it has to be something trendy. That is one way that I can say that we can help promote and support people's trends and styles and abilities. That's the number one way that we do it so far.
Well, what do you see? I mean, from your perspective, you kind of gave me a viewpoint for DC as a whole, but your perspective for bringing more attention. As you know, DC does have a fashion week. A lot of people aren't aware of it. I consider myself kind of sort of in the know, and I just kind of learned about it this past year. And I think they're maybe twice a year, whatever. I don't want to quote, but there's not a lot of information out there. I think when it's time for Fashion Week to happen in DC, it's a little promotion going on out there. But I guess to bring more awareness and to maybe ultimately, do you think we can ever get to a point where some top designers or a lot of the more high-end designers, even local ones, will participate? I'm not sure if you participated. What's your thought on the whole Fashion Week perspective in DC, and how can that grow to maybe get people to...
Well, let me first say, I'm a very big fan of DC Fashion Week. It's a lot of models, a lot of designers, a lot of people that's really into fashion and style in our area, and I think that definitely gives them a platform to do what they do. I actually think that DC Fashion Week, I think it was made to pretty much do exactly what we were just saying. You know, it's trying to help get those trends and stuff out there, trying to bring that type of recognition to what we have here. And I think it's really a good start. But again, it just goes back to people supporting it and, you know, helping spread the word, and you know, that I think it always just goes back to support. Okay. You know, for everything.
Well, I guess my next question is, and you may have kind of already answered it, what can you do? A part of why I do this is to bring attention to, obviously I have a big desire to kind of bring focus on, and the idea, the perception that people have in our nation's capital about style and fashion, and not just clothing and couture and all that kind of stuff, but just fashion and design on a whole, creative style. So what can we do, or what can we emphasize on to kind of bring more attention, other than supporting, maybe when these fashion weeks come around? I'm not sure who the go-to people are, but to kind of be able to circulate the information out there a little better, or what do you think we can do more to, you know, bring it to the forefront, or have more people know about that this is something that's going on in DC?
Well, I think definitely just patronizing the events. Most of them are free. They're like networking mixers, just so you can come out and meet and see the talent. I think that's a good start. Being in the industry, you know, working with so many people that make clothes and everything, you know, I try to support, actually buy, you know, independent brands and things like that to help, you know, just kind of be a visible promotion for that. I think we all can do something like that. You know, that's a start, but if a lot of us are doing it, then, you know, it becomes a movement. So I think that's a good way to start.
Okay, well, getting back to your, and I appreciate that response, and I you know, I kind of definitely agree with you, because I mean, personally, I could really kind of do more. I did support last fall Fashion Week. I went to one of the mixers, but I was just surprised to see the lack of support from people who are in other models, other people that are in the fashion and style business, not supporting it, not really being back. And I was just kind of wondering why that was. So I'm glad I got your perspective on that.
It's just something in the air in DC.
Yeah. People kind of, a little standoffish sometimes about kind of stepping forward with supporting stuff. Well, in your line of work, in your business, so what do you see when you recruit for talent to kind of support you? I mean, of course, you want somebody to make you look good and support the agency and the businesses that you do. What do you look for normally out there? Somebody wanted to in a model, or somebody, and how do you see like the general public? Do you think, just as an overall view, when you're on the streets of DC, do you actually see style? Do you consider? You see a lot of people that are looking the part. No, I think I do. I see a
lot of fly people.
Yeah, okay. That's what I've been trying to get you to say.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. But do other people recognize that? No, I don't think so. And for the reasons why I say that.
Okay.
But when we're looking at models, or when I look for models, this is when our agency motto comes into play. I think it kind of sums it up. Our motto is style is an attitude. We were born with it, and others became accustomed to it. If I'm standing and I'm looking for potential models, there is just something that person has. As soon as I see them, I'm like, oh, they have it.
Right.
I think some people are born with the ability they're born with the ability to be a model, to be able to sell someone else's drink. So I just think it's something that you're born with, and you should be able to spot that as soon as you see it. It's like love at first sight almost, but not really love. But you get what I mean.
That's a whole nother show. We ain't talking about no love right here on this book.
Not love.
Well, that's great. Well, tell us where can we find you, Mr. Harley? Where can we find you if we want to find you? What you working on right now?
Well, we're working on a very big spring runway show for the DMV area. It's called Fashionably Loud, where fashion meets music. We're going to blend a lot of designers from the area, as well as a lot of the performers, rappers and singers. We're going to put all that together in one big show. It's like a show and concert. It's our version of like Rip the Runway meets Victoria's Secret.
Or Fashion Rocks kind of thing.
Fashion Rocks, yeah. Exactly what it is. But it's going to be really, really good.
I want a front row ticket seat. I want a front seat ticket.
Noted. Gotcha. It's Sunday, March the 24th at Ibiza, the nightclub, which is downtown. Well, it's not far from here, actually. If you would like information about the agency,
I'm sorry, I'm talking. I know where it is. I had a birthday party at Ibiza once before. I think it's L Street or M Street near DuPont Circle, but I think it's.
No. Ibiza is off of First Street. It's right straight behind you.
Oh, maybe that's another club I'm talking about. Anyway, never mind.
We're getting off topic. You're looking for anything about ROE the agency, you can look at our website, which is www.roetheagency.com. I'm accessible by Instagram, legendary H&M, or you can tweet me, Bro the Agency CEO.
All right, I think we got enough ways to find this young man. If not, just walking up and down the street, maybe not Union Station, but I don't know what part of town he's hanging out in. But thank you so much, man, for talking to me today.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you taking your time. And that's another episode of Style Speaks, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.